Hey guys, we are going to come to you today with a one of our new FAQ series. We get quite a few folks that are that have questions regarding different things to do with the mortgage process, real estate process, credit. So we have been asked on multiple occasions to do some videos on these. So we've decided today that that's what we're going to start doing. So today we're going to talk a little bit about our about credit. We get asked questions quite frequently about credit and how it affects your the home buying process and those kind of things. So we're gonna go through that real briefly today. Keep these kind of short, so you can maybe go back and reference back to them later on if you'd like. But anyway, so we've got several folks have come in, and we have gotten several questions already relayed to us that we're going to address today. And then if you guys will comment below if there's a subject matter that you're interested in discussing. When we do our next live, we will certainly pick that up and go into more detail about that. Anything to do with mortgage lending, credit, real estate, we'll be glad to address it. So again, just make a comment below as to what your question is, what the topic is, what your concern is, and when we have the next video, we'll go in and we'll address that for you. So anyway, Jonathan, he's here with me today. Jonathan's one of my assistants as well as my marketing guru. So Jonathan has got 3 questions from some other viewers and past clients that we're going to address today. So Jonathan, go ahead and we'll go ahead and address those real quick.
All right. So the first question that we get a lot is, what is the minimum credit score for mortgage qualification?
Okay, great question. We do get that question quite often, and the answer to that is for most of our products, for our conventional or our government products, FHA, VA, we typically can go down to a 580. Now, that does not necessarily mean that you're going to get a mortgage, but that's sort of our minimum credit score is a 580. Again, that is primarily for VA and FHA. We do have, we can go down lower on some of our non-QM products, which are, non-QM stands for non-qualifying mortgages, and which is basically anything outside of a conventional loan. So again, 580 would be the answer to that. And of course, most of our conventional products, you'll have to have at least a 620. So a normal conventional Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac is usually going to be at least a 620 credit score. Our USDA is going to be usually a 620 credit score as well. So that's the minimum credit score requirements kind of across the board. So.
Okay, and another question that we get a lot is, how does the credit score affect the interest rate that the borrower will be getting?
Another great question. How does the credit score affect my rate? And a lot of credit scoring or interest rates goes in tiers. So if you're in that 580 to 600 range, your rate is not going to be as well or as good as someone who's got maybe a 740 or better credit score. So it usually goes in a tier, and depending upon what your credit score is, so the higher that tier or the higher that credit score, typically the better your rate's going to be. For example, if you're in that 740 credit score tier and above, you're going to get a better rate, much better rate than what someone that maybe is in that 580 to a 600 credit score tier is going to be. So.
Gotcha, definitely. And then here's our last question is, how, we get this a lot as well, how does medical collections affect the mortgage qualification?
How does medical collections affect the mortgage process? In most programs, a medical collection does not really have a lot of bearing. It can depend on the recency of that collection and also the amount, but usually what we see more often than not are smaller medical collections, $200, $300, things like that. They can have an impact on your credit score, as far as causing your credit score to be a little bit lower than what you'd like to see, but they typically have very minimal impact on the actual approval itself. So I would say that again, and sometimes when you get into some of your more conventional products, it may have a little more of a bearing, may even require it to be paid off. But I would say more often than not, typically you won't have to do anything with that. Again, it will impact the score itself some, but you typically don't have to do anything with it as far as paying it off or any kind of payment arrangement or anything like that. Typically speaking,
So when you're when you're coming up with someone's DTI, does the medical collection that doesn't affect?
No, it does not. In some products, some of our government products, specifically FHA, if you have other types of collections and they exceed a certain amount of money, we may have to go back and calculate a payment or a certain amount. It's usually going to be 1% back into the debt ratio to account for it.
Mm-hmm.
But usually with medical collections, that they're typically exempt from that calculation. So.
Okay, definitely. Well, I hope this has been some useful information for you if you had some inquiries about some of those credit questions. And like you said, we're going to be doing this a lot more, answering questions that are frequently asked about a wide array of topics, from credit, down to the loan types and stuff like that. So if you will comment below any questions that you have, and we'll try to get to some of those questions on our next live video.
Yeah, guys. So again, we will have different series. We're going to have different series on different loan types, credit, construction lending, anything to do with mortgage lending, credit, and real estate. We'll have several different series or FAQ series on that. So frequently asked questions. These are things that we get these questions every day. We sit in here and we churn mortgages all day, and we take applications. We talk to applicants every day. And these are some of the very common questions that we get asked, quite frequently. So again, frequently asked questions. So we're going to have different series on these, and we'll be putting these out here. So again, if you have a question about anything specific, if you just want to comment below, and then when we do our next video, that will just give us a little more content to use. So when we're going back, we can take care of those things for you. We can address some of those things for you in our future videos, and we'll tag you in those as well, so you'll know we're coming up. We can address those. So even if you can't go live with us, you can go back and see what the response is going to be. So anyway, appreciate you guys tuning in with us today. Really appreciate you. Again, comment down below if there's anything specific that you want to talk about or that you would like for us to address on a future video. We try to do these every Friday at noon, but we will have some others in here as well. We'll kind of sprinkle in some other FAQs along the way, but we're typically always going to have one every Friday of some type of topic, real estate, again, mortgage, credit. So again, hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Peace, guys.